All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to week number 11. That is right, week number 11 of your 9443 class, which is your academic libraries class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. J.S.K. Alston, and this one is not going to be long. I am going to do a state of the course update, and then I'm just going to give you a little bit of a programming idea. So not a heavy thing. A little bit of a programming idea that you might want to consider if you become an academic librarian, or if you have workers who report to you in an academic library who need something to do and wouldn't mind this type of work. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it with the state of the course update, which there's not a whole heck of a lot to discuss. I kind of hinted at that last week. You're pretty much in smooth sailing in this class right now, or really from now into the end of the semester. So let's go ahead and click those. So we've got modules, attend a sync session. We're going to be hearing from Jennifer Hughes of Coastal Carolina University on November the 19th, okay? So that's going to be our last sync session. She's going to talk to us about basically operating hours within an academic library, but how Coastal Carolina was at one point, I believe, the only full-service library in the country that was 24/7. There are a lot that are 24/5, but this particular library was 24/7. She will talk to you about how that came to be and how it ended and what some of the struggles of that were, okay? Because hours are going to be one of those important things when you actually enter professional practice. So you've got that, and aside from that, it's just discussion board prompts and then your final paper. So you all are in smooth sailing right now. There's not a whole lot of state of the course update to really offer. If you have any questions, I am an email away. I do want to, though, put that buzz back in your ear again about this free webinar that is going to be, when is this? It is on, sorry, let me pause. Okay, so November 19th. November 19th is when this is going to be, so if you're interested in attending, and again, like I mentioned last week, I think that it's best for you all to get as much, as much in the way of free webinars as you can. Webinars aren't always free, but you can learn a lot from them, and so learning a lot from a free webinar is not a bad idea, okay? So you've got that, and yes, I think that is pretty much it with the state of the course update. So now let's go ahead and talk about the programming idea. Pause. Okay, so I might have said 10 minutes, maybe more, 15 minutes, but still you can speed this up for one thing. And 15 minutes isn't that long, even unsped, but again, speed it up. I know I talk slow, but I just want to give you all a programming idea that kind of feeds off of this. So this is something that's actually pretty good for you all to be aware of. Recognizing university faculty book authors, the university libraries are working at this particular, I believe this is, University of Nevada at Reno. University libraries are working to identify and collect books authored by university faculty in a catalog. Now, here's what I want to say, because there are numbers of ways you can do this, and this is not something that's like innovative and, oh my God, University of Nevada, Reno was the first group to ever do this. No, this is something that's done. It's something that's done, okay? But the thing about it is that different libraries go about it different ways. So some libraries, for instance, may have a special collection wherein they put the materials that their faculty have published, whereas other libraries might just have a catalog record. You can add a notes record to your MARC record, a catalog record that states in some way that this is a faculty production or something like that. Most academic libraries these days do, well, most university and four-year academic libraries, I should say, at this point do have an institutional repository where you can, which is online, and you can draw things out. In fact, let me show you what I mean by institutional repository and plug myself for it. Yeah, so I know that I told you all already about my dissertation because I talked about it during the week where I was talking about like residencies and fellowships and that sort of thing. But I do want to let you all know that this is what Scholar Commons is something that a lot of academic libraries have. And if you work in an academic library, you probably already know this. But please know that not everybody in the class already works at an academic library or has experience working at an academic library. So, you know, if you already know this, I'm sorry, but there are people who don't. But yeah, so if you have something like Scholar Commons, and there's some other things that are similar to Scholar Commons, but I believe Scholar Commons is the most common institutional repository framework. So yes, you can use Scholar Commons, and what people can basically do is faculty can submit their publications, and most theses and dissertations, I think, actually go into Scholar Commons or into an institutional repository at most Research One institutions, unless the author has opted out. Okay. So yes, and I didn't opt out. So my dissertation just ended up in Scholar Commons for the University of South Carolina. And so this is an institutional repository where graduate students and honor students at the undergrad level and also faculty, they can put things that they publish into the institutional repository. They can make it free to access so that people, if they can't find your work through journals because they have to pay for it, then they might be able to access it through an institutional repository. Mine is free, for instance. So these downloads that have happened here, everybody downloaded this for free. There was no paywall or anything like that. So again, institutional repositories are a thing and they're a common thing. So I don't want you to think that, oh, this is cutting edge. The University of Nevada, Reno is working to identify and collect the things authored by their faculty, is because a lot of libraries do this. A lot of academic libraries do this. It's just that I don't think that my readings in this class necessarily make you aware that a lot of academic libraries do that. And even if they do, it's been a while since I've read the material. I'll just be honest with you. I read it one time and then go. So some of these things have actually been in the course for 2 or 3 years now, and that means I read them 2-3 years ago. Some of them a lot longer than that. So all of that just to say that yes, I'm not rereading everything every semester. So I can't quite remember if there's anything that covers institutional repositories and that sort of thing, and the fact that most academic libraries, or at least most 4-year not-for-profit academic libraries, have them. But first of all, what I want you all to be aware of is that not all academic libraries have them. Some just due to not all academic libraries have like an institutional repository and / other ways to just kind of collect the works that have been produced by the faculty. So if you land in an academic library that does not have that and they want you to take on a project, that might be a project for you to consider, is to start some sort of way to make sure that the things that are produced by faculty at the institution that you're at the university that you're at least, a good thing to do is to, a good thing to do is to just make sure that if it's not in place, then that's something that you could probably get the ball rolling on. And in fact, you might even impress your boss if you say, hey, we don't have something that kind of identifies what has been produced by our faculty here, and I would like to get that going. Trust me, if you say that, your boss will be so impressed and will love you so much and will let you do it. But they might have you do some of it off the clock or outside of your normal working hours, so be aware that that could possibly happen. And you have to determine whether or not you want to do extra work for free to pay your dues or not. I come from a generation where people did that, but the younger generations do not. And frankly, I don't blame them. Free labor kind of sucks, you know. All right, so getting back to the programming idea that I told you I was going to have, the programming idea is this. So you're going to have faculty that are going to be publishing all the time. You're not going to have a year go by wherein the faculty no one at your faculty has published a book. And not a year is going to go by where at least one faculty member has not published a book during that academic year. So what I can recommend that you do is, if you want to kind of do some outreach between the library and the faculty and kind of strengthen those bonds and that sort of thing, one thing you can do is have a reception. And I did this when I was a resident at UNC Greensboro many years ago. What I did was I actually hosted a reception at the library for three faculty, and these were particularly faculty of color, but 3 faculty of color who had published books that academic year. They came in and the students were invited. So here's the thing, like, they do have a lot of institutions do also have like parties that recognize faculty that have published books, but usually these are faculty parties, so they're not things that the students go to. So what I had was a program where the students could actually go to see their faculty talk about their book releases. And if the students like the faculty members, which, it's not always adversarial, right? A lot of students actually do like their faculty members. So if you have students who like a teacher, if a professor is popular, or even if they're not popular, but they still have people that kind of like them, then yes, when you do this, you create the flyers, you make sure students know about it and they're invited. Have food, because that also draws the students there, and that'll also draw community members there if you want to invite community members as well. But that's something that you could do potentially as an annual program. Invite faculty members who have published books to come in and do like just brief book talks during a reception. What I had was a reception where each of the 3 faculty members talked about their book for 20 minutes, and then there was like a 10-minute Q&A. So it ended up being 30 minutes for each author, and there were 3 of them. So it was an hour-and-a-half program. Depending on how many authors you have and how you're handling this type of thing, you might not be able to give that much time. But again, that's what you do. You figure out what works at your institution, because there's no one-size-fits-all sort of thing going on. But again, bringing this all back, I do want to again reiterate that yes, this is a great program idea, and it won't tax you a lot. You will have to reach out, create promotional materials. You'll have to order food. Again, you do want to have these things catered, because that's how you draw the students in. You do have to book the space, blah, blah, blah. You have to do all the things that you would do when scheduling a program. But again, this is a program that builds, this type of program builds bonds between faculty members and others, and faculty members in the libraries and students in the libraries, and students and faculty members. So it's good for that. But then again, it also helps showcase what's going on at your, especially if you like do a press release about it, or after it's done, put the photos online on the library webpage and all of that sort of thing. That's also a way to kind of promote what's going on, get the word out. And it gets the word out not just about the faculty publication, but also it gets the word out about the library and the things that the library can offer, okay? So that's a programming idea that I want you all to think about if you land at an academic library. And again, more than likely, even if you're at a small college, probably every year at least one faculty member has published a book. Okay, so I will leave it right there. There's no need to go on any further. So I am Dr. Jace, and if you decide to do my idea and have these book talks, make sure that you reserve that space. All right, Jace Space, I made it work. I will see you all next week with another check-in video. Till then, take care.